Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I want to tell you a story that sounds small at first, almost ordinary, but by the end of it, it shook an entire diner into complete silence and changed one little girl's life forever. It all started on a rainy evening, the kind of night where the sky hangs low and gray, and the roads shine with reflections of passing headlights. There was a diner sitting off the highway, nothing fancy, just one of those old places with cracked vinyl booths. The smell of frying onions, and a bell that rang every time the door opened. Truckers stopped there, locals stopped there, and that night, a biker gang had taken over the biggest corner of the room. They came in loud at first, leather jackets dripping rain onto the floor, heavy boots thudding against the tiles. The patches on their backs caught everyone's attention, and conversations dropped to whispers. They weren't causing trouble, not really, but their presence filled the space. Engines had rumbled outside like distant thunder, and now their laughter and deep voices rolled through the diner. Some people stared too long. Some people looked away fast. The waitress, an older woman named Carol, had learned long ago not to judge by appearances. She poured coffee, took orders, and kept her smile steady. Even when her hands shook just a little. In the farthest booth, near the window sat a woman named Maria. She was thin, wearing a faded jacket that was too big for her, and her hair was pulled back in a tired knot. Across from her sat her daughter, Lily, no older than 7. Lily's feet didn't reach the floor, and she swung them back and forth under the table while staring at her plate. There wasn't much on it, just a grilled cheese sandwich that had been cut in half. Maria had ordered 1 meal and 2 waters. She'd smiled politely when Carol asked if they wanted anything else, and said no, thank you, maybe next time. Lily ate slowly, carefully, like she didn't want the sandwich to disappear too fast. Every now and then she glanced toward the bikers, eyes wide with curiosity and a little fear. Maria noticed and gently reached across the table, squeezing her daughter's hand. "It's okay," she whispered, "just eat, sweetheart." At the biker table, the men were tearing into plates piled high with burgers, fries, ribs, and wings. Empty beer bottles clinked together as they laughed about the road, about miles traveled and storms outrun. One of them, a big man with a thick gray beard and eyes that had seen too much, sat a little quieter than the rest. Everyone called him Hawk. He was the kind of man whose presence alone made people straighten their backs. He didn't talk much, but when he did, the others listened. As plates emptied, and the rain kept tapping against the windows. Lily's sandwich was gone. She wiped her mouth with a napkin and leaned back, looking satisfied but still watching the food around her. Maria noticed the way her eyes lingered on a plate of fries passing by. Maria's stomach tightened. She had eaten nothing herself. She pushed her water toward Lily and smiled. "You good?" she asked softly. Lily nodded, then hesitated. "Mom," she whispered, leaning closer, "can we take the rest home?" Maria looked at the plate. There were no leftovers on their table, just crumbs. Lily's voice dropped even lower. "From someone else," she added, glancing toward the biker table where a basket of fries sat half-finished near the edge. Maria felt heat rush to her face. Embarrassment, shame, fear, all tangled together. She shook her head slightly. "No, honey," she whispered. "That's not ours. But you always save leftovers," Lily said, her voice innocent, not understanding why this was different. For tomorrow, Maria swallowed hard. Tomorrow, she knew exactly what tomorrow looked like. An empty fridge and another long day of pretending everything was fine. She glanced at the biker table again. One of the men had pushed his plate away, barely touched. The basket of fries sat there, forgotten. Maria took a deep breath. She had spent her life avoiding moments like this, avoiding asking, avoiding being seen as weak. But her daughter was watching her now, trusting her. Maria caught Carol's eye and motioned her over. Carol leaned in. "Everything okay, hun?" Maria lowered her voice. "I'm so sorry to ask this," she said, words trembling. "But, could I maybe take some leftovers home? For my daughter?" Carol froze for just a second. Her eyes flicked toward the biker table, then back to Maria. She hesitated. Not because she didn't want to help, but because she knew how unpredictable people could be. "Let me see what I can do," she said carefully. She walked over to the biker table, heart pounding. "Hey gentlemen," she said, forcing a smile. "I hate to bother you, but one of the other customers was wondering if you were finished with those fries." The laughter stopped. Forks paused mid-air. A few of the bikers turned slowly to look at her. Hawk raised an eyebrow, his gaze sharp. "Why?" he asked. Carol felt her throat tighten. "There's a little girl over there," she said, nodding toward Maria and Lily. "Her mom asked if she could take some leftovers home." The diner went quiet. Not just the biker table, the whole place, even the sizzling from the grill seemed to fade. People held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Maria watched from her booth, her heart racing. She could still stop this. She could stand up, apologize, and leave. But Lily was looking at her with hopeful eyes. Hawk slowly stood up. His chair scraped loudly against the floor. Maria flinched. A few customers shifted uncomfortably. Hawk picked up the basket of fries and held it in his massive hand. For a moment, no one spoke. Then he started walking. Each step felt like it echoed through the diner. Hawk didn't look angry, but he didn't smile either. He walked past booths, past staring faces, until he stopped right at Maria's table. Lily's eyes widened. Maria's hands trembled in her lap. Hawk looked down at Lily. His voice, when he spoke, was deep but calm. "You like fries, kid?" he asked. Lily nodded, too surprised to speak. He set the basket down gently on the table. "These are cold," he said. "You deserve better than that." Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out his wallet. He placed it on the table and looked at Maria. "Order whatever she wants," he said, "and whatever you want to go." Maria's mouth fell open. I can't," she stammered. "That's too much." Hawk held up a hand. "You asked for leftovers," he said. "That took guts. Let us do the rest." He turned and snapped his fingers at one of the bikers. "Tony," he said, "call it in." Tony was already waving Carol over. "Hey, sweetheart," he said with a grin. "Put in a big order. Burgers, fries, shakes, extra everything, and pack it all up." Carol's eyes filled with tears as she nodded and hurried toward the kitchen. Maria sat there, stunned. Lily looked between the men and the table, barely able to contain her excitement. "Mom," she whispered, "is this real?" Maria pulled her daughter close, her voice breaking. "Yes, baby," she said. "It's real." Hawk didn't leave right away. He pulled out the chair across from them and sat down, lowering himself so he was at Lily's eye level. "What's your name?" he asked Lily, she said softly. "That's a good name," Hawk replied. "I had a daughter once. Loved fries just like you." Maria felt a lump form in her throat. "I'm Maria," she said quietly, "and thank you. I didn't mean to cause a scene." Hawk shook his head. "You didn't," he said. "This world makes it hard for people to ask for help. We forget that sometimes." The food came out quickly, bag after bag. Burgers wrapped tight, fries steaming, milkshakes sealed with lids. Carol set them on the table, wiping her eyes. Other diners watched in silence, some smiling, some ashamed they hadn't done anything themselves. Hawk stood up and pulled out a pen. He scribbled something on a napkin and slid it toward Maria. "That's my number," he said. "If you ever need help, you call. No explanations." Maria stared at the napkin, then looked up at him. "I don't know how to repay you." Hawk smiled for the first time that night. "You already did," he said. "You showed your kid it's okay to ask." The bikers paid the bill, all of it, and then some. As they left, the bell over the door rang again, but this time it didn't sound sharp or cold. It sounded warm. The rain had stopped outside, and the engines roared to life, then faded into the distance. Maria packed up the food, her hands still shaking, but her heart lighter than it had been in years. Lily hugged the bag like it was treasure. As they stood to leave, other customers nodded at them, some offering quiet smiles, some quick hellos. The diner felt different now, like something invisible had shifted. On the way out, Lily looked up at her mom. "Mom," she said, "the biker was nice." Maria smiled, tears finally spilling over. "Yes," she said, "he really was." And that's the thing about moments like this. They don't just fill stomachs, they fill something deeper. One simple question, whispered by a mother who just wanted to take leftovers home for her daughter, reminded an entire room that kindness doesn't wear one face, and help can come from the places we least expect. The diner fell silent that night, not because of fear, but because everyone there realized they were witnessing something rare. Humanity, raw and real, shared over fries and second chances.